Good morning and welcome into WagerTalk TV. This is PuckTime. I am Andrew McGinnis, and I've got Carmine Bianco back with me, my co-host. And of course, we can't forget about Don Buster. He switched spots with Brian Leonard this week. We've got Buster in action with us, I believe, having a fantastic NHL season. So we've got all kinds of great plays today for you guys. 3 games to go over. Best bets at the end of the show. Penguins, Lightning, Wild Predators, and the nightcap in Winnipeg as the Edmonton Oilers visit the Jets. Carm, good to see you, brother. I missed having you on the show. How was your trip, man?
The trip was fantastic, man. It was short, 5 days, really warm weather. Found the sports bar, got to watch some hockey, got to watch some football, got to watch my Buffalo Bills get annihilated by our producer Dan's Philadelphia Eagles, even though it wasn't really annihilated, just more terrible coaching. But I'm just happy to be back. I watched some of the shows. I really loved the infomercial yesterday with the press. He sold pretty much everything on the show except for hockey picks and sham wows. But with that said, Andrew, I'm happy to be back. Some great games. And I watched all 3 of the games yesterday. Some pretty good games there, too. Your Montreal Canadiens got the victory last night. But we got a good show, so I think we should start going. What do you say? First game, let's do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have you back on the show. But as you talked about, time to get back into hockey talk here on this show. We've got the Lightning. They're around minus 140 in that ballpark against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Totals at 6.5 here. What are your thoughts on this Pittsburgh Penguins team right now, Carm? And obviously Tampa Bay gets Vasilevsky back, but a little bit up and down for them over the past couple games. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough because I look at some of these score lines, and it's hard to believe. You look at Tampa Bay, and it's hard to believe this Tampa Bay team goes into Colorado, beats them 8-2, lose to Colorado. I can get that one. The one in Arizona was very surprising. I thought that was a spot in which Tampa was going to put up a big number and a big score line, and they did it. And we got Vasilevsky back. He's played a couple games. And I think the one thing that we have to look at as far as Vasilevsky is he's played 2 games against Carolina and against Colorado, 2 very good games. And, even though they split those games, the one thing that's very apparent is that Tampa Bay is playing much better defense in front of them. Carolina and Colorado managed a combined 46 shots on goal, 22 and 24. If you give Vasilevsky that kind of defensive support where teams are only going to get 24 shots on him, they're going to win a lot of games. He's going to keep them in games. We're going to see a lot of unders. And this is where I'm leaning here, just because I look at Pittsburgh and they've struggled a bit to score the last 4 games. And you can even go further back to that when they played the Vegas Golden Knights and won that game 3-0. I think there was an empty netter at the end. You sort of throw away the empty netters when you're looking at final score lines. You want to see what they actually scored 5-on-5 or 5-on-4 and such, or any shorthanded goals. I'm leaning under in this one. 6.5. Vass is supposed to be in goal. Now, if that changes for any reason, then I'm off this under. I wouldn't take it. But they're playing well in front of them. And I think it's one of the things that they know this is their man. They know they need Vasilevsky in order to move up the standings, get into the playoffs, make a run in the playoffs. They're going to play much better in front of them. They're going to try and protect this guy who obviously missed the beginning of the season with the injury. So I like the 6.5 here until the Penguins show me that they can score. If they play that kind of defense in front of Vass, these games standard of total, they turn into like 4-1, 4-2 type scores. And if the number's 6.5, then I have to love the under in this one. Buster, give me your thoughts.
Yes, Carmine, I totally agree with you on this total. That's exactly what I agree with. I just want to quickly say thanks to the Stat Daddy. He gave me this pen on Monday when we met them for a little lunch. And on Tuesday, because I'm an old school guy, I'm always using a Need a Lucky pen. 5-1 on Tuesday. I passed yesterday, so if Ralph's pen works for the whole month of December, look out. And I'm pretty sure you guys probably have one of his pens as well. So great guy, Ralph. He was a little under the weather. Hopefully he didn't pass it on to me because I've got a really bad cold, just like you, Carmine. But anyways, on to the game. We'll go with the side here at first. We'll talk about that. Pittsburgh comes here, losers of 5 of their last 7 games. They do get a Tampa Bay club that they have actually beat 4 straight times. The line, 135, 140. For Tampa Bay seems about right, but yeah, I don't know. Don't really want to be playing them either because Tampa Bay has also gone 1-3 in their last 4. So you actually got a couple struggling teams here. And usually if we have 2 struggling teams and there's a little bit of a dog price and we know they're good teams, we'll either take the dog or pass. We really don't want either here. We don't want the dog. We are going to pass on the side here. Even though we're getting plus money with Pittsburgh, seems like the right thing to do. I think we pass on that. What I do want is what Carmine just said, under the 6.5. Pittsburgh has gone 6 straight games to the under. Tampa Bay, 3 out of the last 4 games to the under. And these teams do trend over a bit when they play, but the last 5 games has been 3 overs and 2 unders. Just like Carmine said, if Vasilevsky's in there, I'm taking it under. Jari and Vasilevsky should be a good way to go here with the under, with both teams struggling. So I'm going to pass this side. Give me the under 6.5.
All right, looking at the under, both guys so far. Looking at the total here. For me, I'm actually going to just take a look at the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation time. I haven't taken too many regulation wagers this year. A lot of times I've been just taking team totals. However, I am, in the same thought as you guys that this could be a defensive battle. And looking at kind of this matchup here and kind of all the trends that point towards a bounce back for Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, I lost my 5% play on the over in the Tampa Bay Lightning and Arizona Coyotes game. And I needed some goals from Tampa. Coyotes pulled their weight, but with overs, it takes 2 to tango. You need both teams to contribute. Worth mentioning, though, we have seen Pittsburgh win 4 straight in this series. It is a 3 games and 4 night situation for Tampa Bay, but I think at this point, it's going to be very simplified as far as how much better the Tampa Bay Lightning play when they've got Vasi in nets compared to Johansson. And, it kind of reminds me, I've talked about this before, where certain teams just give better run support in baseball for certain pitchers. It might not even be a Vasilevsky having a big night. It just seems like this team overall plays better when he is the goaltender, when he is, between the pipes. And also, I know they're back at home, but I like this Tampa Bay team on home ice. So this is where they played their best hockey so far this season. And Pittsburgh has been very, very inconsistent. They've kind of, this price range, they have not done well. They've been more of a team in the pick'em range or when they're the favorite where they've had success as a dog. In this situation, they have not done very well. So I like the minus 105 price on Tampa Bay in regulation, and wanted to mention just how great this overall record, 110 and 42. I mean, that's a streak right now this Tampa Bay Lightning team is on, following a game after they scored 2 goals or fewer. So, I mean, they certainly know how to bounce back, and I feel like at home ice, they will definitely do that. So, Tristan Jarry is having a better year. We have to give him credit. But I think that we all know that the goaltending matchup goes in favor of Tampa Bay here, and I think we're going to kind of see this Pittsburgh defensive core slide a bit. So the way I look at it is, I think if you like an under in this game, you probably want to take Pittsburgh's team total under, because I do think Tampa Bay could get after Jarry.
Yeah, no, and I get it, Andrew. The only thing is, you look at, and I always say to you guys, check our live lines on WagerTalk. It's absolutely free with the NHL. You can see the openers. You can see where some of the money is going. And I think the one surprise here, and maybe it has something to do with who the goalies might actually be in this game, because I don't see anything confirmed as of yet, and I haven't seen any morning skate updates, but the opener was 145 on this one, driven down to 135 now for Tampa. So a little bit of Pittsburgh money coming in this morning, and you just wonder whether it is Johansson that's in goal instead of Vasilevsky. So maybe by the time this show is over, we'll have some news, but that'll affect me on the total. I don't want, listen, Johansson's been good, but I want Vass in net if I'm going to take the under. I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. It's that time of year where you want to be checking goalie posts, daily face-off, RotoWire, left wing lock. There's so many great websites you guys can use to make sure you're up to date and you know which goaltenders are in the net. So we got 2 plays on the under in the first game here, guys. I'm looking at Tampa Bay minus 105. Despite that 3-4 situation, I feel like they're going to bounce back, and I'll take them in regulation time. Let's go over to Buster for his thoughts on the Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators. Looking at this matchup, Buster, this is just something that you hear all the time, taking a team after they fire their coach. And of course, they get a 3-1 victory last time out against the St. Louis Blues. Here they find themselves minus 125 favorites. Are you going to ride this streak on the Wild, or are you going against them tonight?
Well, Andrew, I'm not going to play a side in this one either, but I will discuss it so everybody has an idea of if they want to play the side. I found this game, there's 14 games tonight. I found this the toughest handicap on the side of all 14. Only because, let's start with Minnesota. As you just said, they fired their coach. What always happens after the fire coach? Pretty common stuff. They win the game. Now, I like a lot of times when a team is off a long losing streak and they win that first game. I always like to bet on that second game as well. It seems to be the way it is. And I'm going to go through a little stat on that in a sec. But a problem here with Minnesota, now they play a Nashville club that has owned them. And Nashville, quietly have got a 6-game winning streak. Minnesota are 1-10 the last 11 meetings in Nashville. And that is even when going back when Minnesota's been playing really well. They're not playing the best of hockey, of course, of late. The problem for me is that, like I said, I love playing that situation where, now that they've got the new coach, they've been playing a lot better those last 2 games. They've actually started firing the puck at the net, getting a lot of shots on goal. And I'm just going to go through, I went back, did a little bit of homework yesterday. So teams that have lost 4 games, I went with 4. Seemed like the right thing to do. They've lost 4 games, then they win a game. So on a losing streak, they win. They have won in that second game. It's came up 13 times this year. That's 9-4 for the team that has broke that streak to win that second game. So, you know what, Andrew? I remember I watched the show, I think, a little bit on Monday night before I went to the airport and I know you kind of got a little bit ridiculed or whatever about the draw in a game or something like that. But you know what? I don't play draws. I'm telling people, but I know people do. This could be one of those draw type plays. So I don't want no part of the side. What I do want, I want to bet the over here, but we're going to wait. Right now it's at 6. I got to believe it's going to be 5.5, maybe mid-afternoon. And these teams, and I know that you look at this game and it's like, boom, automatic under. Yeah, not so fast. These teams have gone the last 7 games, 6-1 to the over. As I said, Minnesota now seems the last few games, they seem to be, I think they had like 37, 30. They're starting to play a little bit better. Probably having everybody back too doesn't hurt their cause, right? And Nashville, a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, take a little look. They're 10th in goals scored in the NHL this year. That's, as we all know, anybody that's watched NHL hockey, that's a lot. So waiting for that 5. Going to bet it over. Sorry, 5. I'd love to have 5. Waiting for that 5.5. Take that game over. I want no part of the side. And if anybody wants to bet this side, good luck to you.
Looking at the over here, and like you said, a lot of trends pointing towards it as well. Buster, I'll tell you what, I was frustrated because I hope we see some goals in this one. I had the team total over for the Wild in that game against the Blues, and it seemed like the new coach made them sit back. So hopefully that's not something you see more, and we can have success. I expect some goals in this one too, but man, that was so frustrating having the team total over 3.5 goals. The empty netter was there. There's so many possibilities, Carm, and here I am watching the puck line hit for people, the regulation, everything else hit besides the team total. But Carm, the Nashville Predators have been my nemesis this year. Are you going to go against them here and ride the Wild, or what are your thoughts on this one?
Listen, we all have them. I remember a couple of years ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Andrew, they were your nemesis. They were mine at times. We get those one or two teams where we try and play against them, and it just backfires each and every time. So listen, I get it. You look at and Buster made some really good points. You look at this game and listen. Nashville have won, sort of 6 games on the bounce. It's a nice little streak for them. They're starting to play extremely well. But sometimes you can look at a team in their losses and come up with a change in their analytics, a change in their numbers that show that some wins are coming up. And I see that with Minnesota. They're finally getting shots on goal. This is something that they weren't doing. I think 3 of their last 4 games have had 36 or more shots on goal. And then they get the win over the St. Louis Blues. And that's not a signature win. It's the St. Louis Blues. But the Blues have played a lot of teams tough this season as well, too. So you can't discount it. And sometimes when you break that streak of losses, just like when you break a streak of wins, and I'll mention another one in a second, in the second game we're talking about with Winnipeg, is you get that monkey off your back and you find another win. This is a team that lost 7 games in a row before beating St. Louis, and they're only plus 105 on the road against a team that have won 6 in a row. You could say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just stick with the team that is hot. But there are signs that Minnesota is coming around and getting that one win. I think I'm perfectly happy taking them again tonight. They are a dog. I wouldn't lay money on them on the road, but they're a dog in this game. But it's only plus 105, and I think it's worth the risk for like a couple units. And I'll likely release this one to my clients for 2% play for tonight. But I'm taking Minnesota tonight.
All right, Carm looking towards the side here with the Wild. And, when a coach gets fired, it's one of the better angles to look at across all sports, not just NHL. We see it in the NFL, whether it's an offensive coordinator or the entire coaching staff, whatever it may be. And also leadership, speaking out. Guys, Patrick Maroon is not known for his goal scoring ability. We all know that. He led the league in penalty minutes last year. But he came out with a lot of, words that we can't even talk about on the show. I mean, he was saying some stuff about his team. He was not happy, talking to the media about how disappointed he was in not just the scores, but the effort from his team. The fact that they were not finishing plays off and they just were not having a group collective effort. However, I do think that the game they're going to play tonight is against a completely different team than they played the other night. The St. Louis Blues are actually, in the month of November, I was looking at things last night, they're top 5 in expected goals, actually, but also top 5 in expected goals against in November. So things are a little bit easier when going up against a team like the Blues. Now they go up against a Predators team, but the Predators, like Buster said, it's actually shocking. They've been quite a bit of an over team this year. I look at some of these numbers, and I look at some of these games that they've been involved in. You take away their last 2. I mean, we've got an 8-3 scoreline. We've got some 4-3s. We got their 4-2 against Chicago. They put up 5 against Arizona, but gave up 7. This is a Nashville Predators team that's actually getting scoring from their secondary group, which is not something that they're used to. They're used to Philip Forsberg and their top guys carrying the load of their scoring. And as Buster mentioned, this is a situation where the over has trended heavily, and not just heavily in the matchup in general, in the matchup when Nashville has been at home. And we talk about Minnesota getting their act together. Well, they still haven't gotten things their act together on the road quite yet. So, and they've been a lot worse defensively on the road. So just like Buster, I like the over in this game. I'm expecting some goals here. And I think that if Minnesota continues their streak, or if they can, get it going, they're going to have to score a handful of goals. Right now, Nashville has been testing teams. They've been playing very strong hockey. And you take a look at their power plays. They've been scoring goals, and they haven't even been having success in the power play. For Nashville, 1 for 5, 1 for 5, 1 for 2, and 0 for 3. They're putting up at least 3 goals a game right now, and they're not even scoring on the power play. So if Nashville starts clicking on the power play, that could be extremely dangerous. And same thing for Minnesota. I believe they're at the top of the league in drawing penalties per game. If they can start capitalizing on their power play, it makes a huge difference. Very similar to with basketball, college hoops especially. If you can handicap which teams draw fouls and get into the bonus very early, then you can really help yourself out with totals. And I think that both these teams have strong power plays and do a good job of drawing a lot of power plays and can get it done there. So up and over 6 for me. That is my play. And really quick, we just want to remind you, you can find all 3 of us over at wagertalk.com. Give us all a follow on Twitter. If you guys do not buy plays from WagerTalk and our best bets, completely fine with us. Do us a favor. Hit the like button on this video. Show some love to us for giving out all these plays and talking some hockey here on the channel. And if you're interested in some of our plays, new customers take 15% off anything with your first purchase. So if you sign up for an account over at WagerTalk and you're a new customer, you can take 15% off anything in your shopping cart and anything that you grab over at WagerTalk. Carm, over to you for the nightcap here. We got a good one, man. Edmonton Oilers, Winnipeg Jets. What do you have for us in this one?
Yeah, first I want to mention to a guy in the chat, Gary, who asked me if I would still go with Washington unders. I would, just because they're struggling to score right now. Ovechkin's on a line with I think it's with Strom instead of his regular guy. He's got like 1 even strength goal. I think he's only got like 1 power play goal. He's got a couple empty netters. He's on pace for 23 goals. It's going to take him a couple years to catch Gretzky, and they're 10-3 to their last 13 games to the under. So I would stick with it. They're playing a little bit better defensively, but they're not scoring. So they're involved in a lot of 2-1 games, like last night's game against the LA Kings, who were on a great roll. Now, Andrew, we talk about this game and we talk about the coaching changes, and I get it. Listen, the Edmonton Oilers, I think, are, when we talk about our nemesis, your Pittsburgh Penguins of a couple years back, your team from this year, it's the Oilers. I take them, I lose. I fade them, they win. But I've had some recent luck with them, and I think they're playing well. They've won 6 of their last 9 games, 5 of their last 8 games with their new coach, and that 3-game losing streak. Listen, a lot of teams and a lot of good teams are going to go to Florida, play Florida, Tampa Bay, and then finish the East Coast in Carolina and come away with at least 2 losses, if not 3. We've seen some very good teams do it, and it's just one part of each team's schedule that is super tough. They seem to schedule those 3 games together, where teams play 2 games in Florida, play in Carolina, and then either finish up a trip a little farther up the East Coast or head back to the West Coast if they're a West Coast team. The Oilers team is playing better, but they're still a team that allow a lot of goals. It's one of those ones where you're playing with a hand grenade sometimes with these Oilers. They get you 4, and that's normally good enough, but they allow 5. I think this is a spot where, when we talk about regression, and I normally do not like to use the phrase regression with teams that, let's say like Winnipeg, they have lost 2 games on the bounce, but 2-0 to Dallas, 3-2 to the Nashville Predators. Those were still very good performances by them, but they've had such a good start to the season that it is so tough for a team to maintain that for 82 games without, even a very good team, without losing 3, 4, 5 games in a row. It will happen with some teams. And when we talk about those streaks, they had a good streak of games going. I think they won 5 in a row. They lose to Nashville. And sometimes when that streak gets broken, it's followed up with another loss. Just like a losing streak, when you win one, it's followed up by a win. It is something that if you go back and you look at historical numbers, it seems to happen with regularity, and you just want to avoid being on the wrong side of it. The Oilers are a favorite on the road here, -120. I think that's the right price. I wouldn't lay 140 with the Oilers. I think I wouldn't even lay 130 or 135. I'd lay 120 here on the road with the Oilers, see if they can go into Winnipeg, get a win. But this is a Winnipeg team that I almost want to compare how Montreal plays to how Winnipeg is, in the sense of Montreal sends their guys out there, and they're like little soldiers. They will drive you nuts for 60 minutes and sometimes steal a win. Winnipeg just plays 60 minutes of hockey where it's almost like hell, and you've got to be very good to beat them. But I think the Oilers get it done tonight. So give me the Oilers minus 120, and I'll throw it to Buster for his thoughts.
Well, Carmine, I know you said when you first came on that Edmonton's been your team that's been a kind of a team that you can't grasp on. So let's hopefully that you're wrong tonight on that as well, because I have Winnipeg, put it out to the clients as my best bet of the night. And I just, and I know you said 120 is a good price for Edmonton. I can understand people think that. I think Winnipeg should be probably 120. Not Edmonton, but you did mention you didn't want to lay 130 or didn't want to lay 140. So we both know this is going to be a close game. But here's what I like with taking Winnipeg here. For starters, you're not laying anything with them, and I think they should be laying 120. Edmonton are 3-8 on the road this year, and even though the coaching change and everything else, and they're playing a lot better, to me they're still the same team. Winnipeg has owned Edmonton, winning 8 of the last 11 games between these guys. When Edmonton travels to the Peg, they've only won once in 5 starts. So really like Winnipeg here. I'm not buying Edmonton, just like I don't buy Toronto. They have the same problems. Both teams have the same problems that they've had. At least Edmonton was smart enough to change that coach. Now it's Toronto's turn. But anyways, that's for another day. That's for the total. Edmonton are scoring some goals of late. They have gone over in 6 of the last 7 games. The problem, Winnipeg, on the other hand, have gone under 5 of the last 6 games. When they played this year, it was 3-2 overtime win for Winnipeg in Edmonton. Now, Winnipeg has lost those last 2 games, and they also got shut out last game. I like that for Winnipeg too. Going back to the total, the over has hit with these two teams in 4 of the last 5 in Winnipeg. So if you do like it over, you are getting some value, because actually that game in Edmonton, it was a 7. It was a 7 all day long. Right now you're getting 6.5, so you are getting value if you like it over. We're going to pass on the total, but we really like Winnipeg to win this game tonight.
All right, looking towards Winnipeg. We got our first head-to-head. The gloves are off in center ice between Buster and Carm in this one. And guys, I'm going to channel my inner Joe Ranieri and say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because that's what you hear him say on Bet On It whenever we talk about a prime time game in the NFL. And this is what we should all be saying when it comes to a game the Edmonton Oilers are involved in. We have to bet the over here. Over 6.5 is a play that I'm very interested in. We did see a lighter schedule for the Oilers after Jay Woodcroft was fired. Everyone starts going crazy saying the Oilers are back. Well, now they have a kind of a string of tougher games coming up here. All right. And this is a matchup against the Winnipeg Jets that, as Buster mentioned, has been playing better defensive hockey, and they've been playing in some low scoring games. No doubt about it. But when you look at every team that meets the Edmonton Oilers, they could be on the biggest under streak of the season. Once you play the Oilers, so much ice opens up. It becomes, as we always say on PuckTime, pond hockey out there. It becomes kind of a back and forth game. And both the Oilers draw a lot of penalties and take a lot of penalties. In their last matchup, they gave their opponent 5 power play opportunities. They had 3 power plays themselves, and the Oilers killed all 5 penalties that they gave up last time out against Vegas, which is very shocking because Vegas has a great power play. Winnipeg also has a great power play. So I think if Edmonton, takes a lot of stupid penalties, does not take care of the puck, Winnipeg will make them pay on the power play. So guys, if you get, 1 or 2 power play goals in this one, you're only asking for a handful, for 1 or 2 goals, couple goals each, 5-on-5 from these teams to go over the total. And let's be real here. One of the main reasons why this Oilers team has had success is just because of their top players. I mean, their depth has not been there over the past several years. McDavid has more points over his last 3 games than he did over the last 2.5 weeks before that. He's really clicked it into a new gear. Draisaitl looks good again. Evander Kane's playing well. And I feel like this is going to be a Winnipeg Jets team that comes into this one not happy. As Buster said, 2 straight losses for them. What better team to get your offense going than against the Edmonton Oilers? And I wanted to mention as well, because we can all agree on this, there are 76 goaltenders that have played a game so far this NHL season. 76 guys have suited up for their team and gone in between the pipes. Stuart Skinner has the worst record across all advanced metrics. He has a minus 10.8 expected goals number. This is an Oilers team that could be a lot better if he even has played average goaltend in goal. And that's the problem. It wasn't just Jack Campbell. Stuart Skinner analytically is the worst goaltender right now in the NHL. So I do believe that no matter how well they play offensively, I do not trust this Oilers team on defense. So we got 2 plays on the side, and I'm on the over 6.5. If it's not broken, guys, I'm not going to sit here and try and fix the Oilers, because good luck taking an under in a game that they are involved in. I'm surprised we don't see more 7s really in their games in general. Carm, we got so many games. I'm happy with those 3 that you selected for us to go over. It sounds like you have a decent card for your clients today. What do you have going for your clients, and what's your show best bet?
Yeah, so I'm going to quickly tell a story. I'm not selling anything as far as anything other than picks, but I'm on the beach in Jamaica. I'm in the water. We're tossing around a Frisbee, and this guy goes, "Hey, are you Carmine?" And he's in the water. I'm like, the first thing you think about, Andrew, is like, oh shit, what the hell's going on, right? It's like, yeah, Carm from WagerTalk, right? I'm like, so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, what was my card like the last 2 or 3 days? Did I have a winning day, losing day? Because it would be man found floating back to Canada, dead in the water. But turned out he watches PuckTime. He loves playing the player props, and that's why I'm going to give a player prop on today's show. But with that said, a big card. I have some soccer plays that are loaded. I have a 5% play up in the NHL for tonight, and I have 6 other plays. They're all like 2% plays. They're either plays or shot props. I'm going to amp up the shot props because we're 20 games into the season. There's a lot more data and trends that happen that you can make better decisions on these shot props. With that said, I'm going with Aaron Ekblad tonight for Florida, over 2.5 shots. He's plus money, plus 124 at DK. He's only played 6 games. Him and Montour both missed the beginning of the season for Florida with off-season surgery. He's back. 6 games he's played. He's gone over his number in 4 of 6 games. And this is a guy who was very profitable last season with his shot props, and eventually started to go to 3.5 shots, his shot props, before he tailed off at the end of last season when he did get injured. So over 2.5 is plus money, plus 124, and that's what I'm going to take. Aaron Ekblad, he's gone over 4 of 6 numbers. Bad spot for Montreal tonight, I believe. Back-to-back games for them. Played in Columbus last night. They allow the most, the most shots on goal of any team, and they're returning home first off a 5-game road trip, and their last 4 games, which includes tonight, were played over a 7-day span with travel. So maybe we see a lot of shots from the Florida Panthers tonight. That's my show best bet.
Good to have you back on the show, Carm, and that's an awesome story, man. Honestly, shout out to everybody that watches PuckTime. We appreciate all of you, and again, if you want to DM or ask any questions, or if you see anybody in public, like someone saw Carm, say hi. Especially if you're in Mexico and you want Don Buster to buy you a cerveza, I'm sure he'll definitely do that. Buster, what do you have going tonight for your clients, man?
Yeah, that is true, Andrew. I definitely will, and because I just wanted to mention this real quick, because I don't do what you and Carmine do and a lot of the other guys and talk into the chat while the show's going on, because basically I just have to concentrate on doing the show and try and do the best job I can. But I do have a lot of people. If you want to just DM me on Twitter, if you just even have a question, I will try to get. I'm not on there all the time, but I do my best work at about 2 a.m, going through the game. So if you have any questions, I have no problem giving you whether I put it out or not. I will definitely give you an opinion on a game. So just wanted to say that. I've been meaning to say that probably for about a year or so, but I'm just, now that you mentioned that, you guys, I think just so people know. Okay, at the site, we have on Tuesday, as I said earlier, with the Ralph Michaels Stat Daddy pen, we went 5-1, but we put out a package of 5 NHL games for only $19, and all 5 of those games won. Now, I know it's going to be tough to do that again, but why not? We'll go 5 Love the Games tonight. Lots of games. So head on over to the site, grab that package. I know there's a bunch of big specials going on this weekend and that, so go over, grab a 3-day all access, whatever you like, and from the site. Our show play is in the same game as Carmine's, actually, and we first 3 games of the year we did these our usual puck line plays, but I think this is a great spot for it. We're going to be on Florida first period puck line -0.5 plus 135. Carmine had mentioned that they come here off a 5-game road trip, and they played last night against Columbus, and they have Florida waiting for them at home. I'm not too sure what Montreal did to piss off the scheduler, but that's pretty bad. A 5-game road trip back to back, and then you got to play Florida. Yeah, not good. And I think Florida jumps on them right away. So I really like that play. It's Florida first period puck line -0.5 plus 135. Thank you, Carmine and Andrew, for having me on the show as always. Thank you, Brian Leonard, for switching with me as I was in Vegas. And as always, best of luck with all your plays, and have a great day.
You too, Buster, and great to see you, man. Looks like you had a great time with the WagerTalk crew. I was jealous you had those awful seats at Allegiant Stadium. All jokes aside, those looked awesome, and I'm happy you're back home safe, man. So best of luck tonight to you and your clients. We want to bring up something as well. We no longer have the discounted $9 Monday or half-price Mondays. We have all these different customer appreciation days, and tomorrow is Fill Your Cart Friday. So we've got an unlimited amount of uses for this. You could take 25% off tomorrow only on any package you want. It could be a small 3-day pass. It could be a 1-year pass, but it's going to be a huge day at the website. There are so many sports going right now. College football playoffs. We got college basketball, NFL, UFC, NHL. There's so much going on. Do not forget about the European soccer leagues. 25% off any single package you guys want to purchase tomorrow. So if you want to buy a package today, probably shouldn't be saying this, but wait till tomorrow. If you want to buy a big package, wait till tomorrow. Save yourself some money, and you can take advantage of those great deals. So shout out to Carm for reminding me to mention that, because it is a huge deal that you guys definitely will want to take advantage of with that. I actually have 2 4% hockey plays today. My first 3% college basketball play of the season, and then some player props going up as well. But college basketball, it was great to hit a team total play yesterday to the over when there was about 7 minutes left in the game. Best feeling ever when you're betting a team total over. So we're going to try and do that again with the team total market tonight. For my best bet, I'm going to look at the Buffalo Sabres and the St. Louis Blues up and over the total of 6.5. If you're a fan of matchup history, you will like this one. 7 straight overs between these two clubs. Lots of high-scoring games here. In the month of November, we've seen these teams both be bottom 10 as far as expected goals against. And the St. Louis Blues, they are second last in expected goals against. They are giving up a ton of chances. And I believe the offenses are clicking right now for these teams, especially Buffalo. I think they're going to get their confidence back and build off a big win they had last time out against the New York Rangers. So, guys, up and over 6.5. My best bet today with the St. Louis Blues and Buffalo Sabres. On behalf of Carmine and Buster, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Puck Time.